Hey everyone, it's Lizzie and welcome back to my channel. Today is the second paycheck budget of May and we are actually planning into June for this paycheck. So if you guys are interested to see how we plan out our paycheck budget, then keep on watching. So for the last paycheck of the month, we always plan ahead for the following month. That's really important, especially in the pay schedule that we are on. And how I find out what bills I am going to be paying from this paycheck is, let me get it out here, is by utilizing this bill tracker, and I write in right up here our paydays. So we are just doing one paycheck budget because my husband and I, we just get paid a day apart, and it just doesn't make sense to do two separate budgets for that when I'll just combine it into one. So I will just go side by side and just add these two totals up together and fill in this expense section. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and fill in this top part, the payday date, and then I'll explain the percentage method, or that rule that we base our budget on. So let me go ahead and do that right now. Okay, and then this beginning balance, this is the amount, the total that is in our checkbook register. And I'm kind of old school on this. I believe in keeping track of everything that goes on in your checking account, and I just use an app on my phone. There are so many different checkbook registers apps that you can find. I just use the app called Balance My Checkbook. I have an iPhone, so you have an iPhone, you can go ahead and download that and see if you like it, but I've been using it for years and it's been really beneficial. So this is just the balance that shows as available on my screen, which is $17.77. And then the two paychecks, so they're just two paychecks. So I'm just gonna write another paycheck here. First one is $1,084.37. And then the next paycheck that we received was $1,059.25. So yes, my husband and I, we combine our funds. So we don't have separate checking accounts. Everything just goes into one main checking account, and that's what we pay our bills out of. That's kind of like your operating account if you think business-wise, right? Everything goes into the one main account, and then all of the bills get paid automatically out of that same account. We don't do any separate things. We just handle cash, and we have our own debit cards for like gas purchases, but that's pretty much it. Now our businesses is a whole other story. If you guys are interested to hear like how I manage our business accounts, definitely let me know in the comments, but that is handled a completely separate way. So now what you want to do, we want to go ahead and just add up everything. So including your beginning balance from your account, and then also these paychecks. Okay, the total income is $2161.39. And now back to what I said in the beginning. How do we factor in a percentage for our budget? So we don't do percentages for each individual thing, like this percentage should go to housing. This is how much you should apply for, you know, your utilities and all of this other stuff. No, we base it off of a whole generalized rule. And that is currently living off of 70%. So that's your day-to-day spending, your cash envelopes, your regular spending cash envelopes, eating out, your groceries, your pet, getting your hair done, you know, buying clothes, anything like that that's like a regular spending. That is what you include under the 70%. Now, we live off of 70% right now because we no longer have debt. Yes, we are 100% debt free. We are renting, but our goal is to save to buy our future home, paid for in cash. But before, when we were doing this percentage method, budgeting method, we lived off of 80%. And that's what allowed us to get the ball rolling into paying off our debt. And we did that within a matter of 2 years for budgeting. So let me go ahead and make a note here of what 70% is of this income. So on this note part of my budget sheet, let me go ahead and zoom you guys in so you can see this. So we're gonna just write in what 70% is. And that is of our total income. So we take the 21 2161.39, and we multiply it by 0.7. And that gives us the total amount for 70%, which comes to $1,512 and then 98 cents. You could round it up to 1513. Okay, and then we still have 10% to budget out for, and then the last 20% to complete that 100%. So 10%, the first 10% is what applies to giving. For us, it's our tithe. And I have this right on my budget sheet, right below our income, because that is the next thing that we do. Before we pay anything else, we always give a tithe, and that's just a personal thing that we do. We believe in it, and we've received many blessings from God because we do this, and we do it willingly. So let's find out what 10% is of our total income amount. And now we do it based off of our paycheck amounts, not this total income. It's the income that we actually receive. So what you want to do is just add up these total paychecks and then factor in what 10% is of that. So we take the first paycheck and we just add these two up. Okay, so 2143.62, and we just multiply that by 0.1. So that gives us $214 and some change, but we like to just round that up to $215. So that's what I'm gonna go ahead and write in here as $215. So now this 20% is what is remaining. So you take the total income, this number right here, the 2161.39, and you just multiply that by 0.2. And this gives you an amount of $432.28. All right, so now what are these numbers down here? So I already explained the 70%, which is your living expenses, your day-to-day regular spending. Your 10% is your giving, your tithe. Now, if you're not a tither, maybe give to a charity or just do something, bless somebody with that. Or you can just use the full 30% and apply it to debt or whatever your savings goal is. But for us, this is for tithe. The last 20% is what we apply for any goals that we have, financial goals. There's a few things that we have going on in our life that requires us to apply a little bit extra for our emergency fund, but then also we have a goal of buying a house, so we want to apply some of it to a house savings so that we can purchase a house. So that's what we plan on using this amount for. And also this applies towards sinking funds, which is a form of savings. So that's what that 20% can go to as well. So now, since we know what our tithe is and everything, let's go ahead and just fill in the numbers that we do know. All right, so that is completed. And using my bill tracker is what I am going to use to fill in these total numbers here for one lump sum for our paycheck budget. So how I do this, and I'm just going to do this pretty quickly, but I'll show you for a couple of these bills. So you want to go through. So as I mentioned, I'm just going to add these two up together. So rent, we are going to pay today for the rent. So it's $325 each paycheck. So I'm just going to add this together, and that totals to $650. So I'm going to go ahead and write in $650 here, and I'm going to put a check next to those amounts. So I know I've already completed that, written it down, and set that money aside. Now this next one, so if you look down, and this is why I love the bill tracker. So I see iTunes, we're going to complete that payment. It is due on the 29th. But then if I go down here, or it's due on the 7th. If I go down here, I see that there's a second iTunes, because both my husband and I, we have iPhones, and we have extra storage that we buy for the iCloud. There's also another iTunes that would need to be paid by this paycheck, because this is due on the 30th, and then this one up here is due on the 7th, and we don't get another paycheck until after the 7th. So I'm going to go ahead and write in $198, because we paid this iTunes and then also we covered for the 30th. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just fill in our expenses here, and I'll go over our cash envelopes in just a minute. All right, so that is done, all of the fixed expenses. And then as you see down here, there's a grocery line, but there's one thing that I do have to update because, let me show you my calendar here. How I had written this was from my prior pay schedule. And my company recently switched up their pay schedule where I'm now not getting paid bi-monthly. I'm gonna be switching over to bi-weekly pay schedule. So for the month of June, I will now be getting paid bi-weekly, no longer bi-monthly. And so the way that our pay schedule falls, mine falls here on the 5th and the 19th, and my husband, he's getting paid on the 11th and the 25th. So for our groceries, before I had to think about 2 weeks worth of grocery money we needed to withdraw before we received another paycheck. So how I got paid before, I got paid on the 15th and the last day of the month. So for this week here, that first week of June, we weren't going to receive income. We weren't going to receive a paycheck. So I had to plan ahead and withdraw $275 worth of food. But now, because of this change, I have my white out here. I actually don't need to withdraw groceries from this pay, only the one. So my bill tracker is completed, and now we just have to focus on these variable expenses. So anything that changes periodically, and you know, our utilities bills are variable, but I do include that in our bill tracker. So for gas, I want to budget a little bit more because my husband, he's been doing a lot of work and he's been driving a lot. So I think that having a little bit higher of a gas fund would be wise for us to do. So we're just going to go ahead and budget $120 for that. And then in case he goes through tolls, which he does regularly for his job, if he goes to like do quotes or anything like that, he may have to take the toll roads. So we're gonna go ahead and just add $10. We do have a balance already, but I just wanna add a little bit more just in case. So let's go ahead and see where we stand right now to be within that 70% that we marked off down here. Okay, so we are currently at 1055.18 for this total section of expenses. So we're still well below this 1512 that we said was within that 70%. Now there's one more thing that we have been factoring in our paycheck budget is called a miscellaneous section. And on this line, what this means is that we are going to be leaving an extra dollar amount in our bank account just in case one of these bills or something comes up and that we didn't budget for, we didn't plan for. We don't have to touch our emergency fund or, you know, switch anything up. We can just cover it with what we have in our checking account. So I've already calculated this, but this miscellaneous dollar amount is going to be $100. So I'm going to go ahead and just add that in. So this total section comes to $1155.18. So now let's see what we have remaining. You take your income minus your giving and then minus your expenses. So $791.21 is the remaining amount. So we still have day-to-day cash envelopes that we have to budget for. So we've already put in our groceries, but then these here are the cash envelopes that I keep as my like regular spending. Now all of these are not in my wallet. Date night and eating out is usually at home, but these I typically keep with me. So let's go ahead and see what we are going to be stuffing. So for date night, I'm pretty much just going to copy what I did the previous paycheck budget. So I'll show you that really quickly in case you didn't see that, because I think it went really well. So this was the prior paycheck budget, and I think we did a really good job last week, so I figured let's just do the same thing now. So date night, we are going to put in $50. Eating out is going to get $50. Home is going to get $40. So pet, we actually are not going to be stuffing the pet envelope or the toiletry. So I don't even know why I wrote it in, but it is what it is. Spending, woo, that thunder. Spending, we're going to put in $100 for that. And that's split in between my husband and myself. So now we're gonna move on to the sinking funds. And I have a sheet here that I'm gonna use for our sinking funds. And it is for payday 5/29. And these are the sinking funds that we will be stuffing. And I liked how I had it broken down over here. So I'm actually just gonna copy it and put in the same amount as I did for the last paycheck. So it was $200 for the sinking funds. And now let's see, what is the total cash that we had withdrawn? All right, so $515 is the total cash that we withdrew for our cash envelopes and our sinking funds. Now, I'm not gonna fill in this cash denomination section, and the only reason why is because I ended up having to go to the inside ATM because my bank was closed. They closed early due to COVID-19, and typically I would go into the bank and they would be open until 6. And by the time when I got out of work, I was still able to make it there on time. But they closed early due to everything going on. So I had to revert to go to the ATM that was inside. And I got 20s and 5s. That was all that I was able to get. And I was okay with it because it still worked out to apply it to our cash envelopes. So that's the only reason why I'm not doing this whole cash denomination section. But now let's go ahead and just see what we have left over. So we take this beginning remaining balance of the $791.21, and then we're going to subtract the $515. So that leaves us with $276.21. And that's what we are able to apply to our goals. So remember down here, I mentioned the 20% should be used for like savings, or if you want to apply it to like debt, whatever your goal is, your financial goal, that's what you can use that 20% for. In our case, we are debt free, so we can put it towards different savings. Now, a portion of this does go to sinking funds. So we applied $200 of that to sinking funds, as I showed you in that previous page. So the remaining can go towards these savings. So we're gonna apply $100 for our emergency fund to beef that up just a little bit more. And then the rest is gonna go to our house savings, which that comes to $176.21. And that leaves us with $0, meaning we've given every single one of our dollars a job. You always wanna have a zero-based budget. At least that's what I believe. So now we got our paycheck budget set up. We have our sinking funds and cash envelopes and cash. Let's get ready to stuff these bad boys. Okay, so I'm first gonna start off with my sinking funds, and I just have this in these little pouch. And this is from an Etsy shop, Budgeting with Ashley. I have the link in the description box down below in case you guys wanna check that out. I have my tracker here. We are going to put in $20 into this cash envelope. So now there is $128 in here. Car maintenance is getting 10, so I'm just gonna put in 2 5s because that's what I was able to get. So there's 60 in here. Christmas is getting 30. That'd be $374. 20, 40, 60, 83, 20, 40, 60, 70, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. Emma's birthday currently has $40, and we're gonna put in 20. So see, there's 40. So now we have $60 in that. Father's Day for this year, currently $60, and we're just gonna add in 20. So there's $80 in there now. Planning on next year's, so I have an envelope for that. Gifts, we are adding in $10. I have 2 5s. So there's currently $30 in here. So there's $30. My birthday, we are adding $20 into this one. Right. Medical, we were able to add in $50 from our May Savings Challenge. So we now have $130, but we will still be funding this cash envelope because we do have a lot of like doctor appointments and things. So there's $150 that's gonna be in here. Let's actually double check that. 20, 40, 50, 81, 20, 40, 50. Okay, Mother's Day for next year, because we want to start preparing for that, is getting $10. We have 20, 30, 35, 40, 1, 2, 3. Vacation is getting $20. So I should have $260 in here. Let's just make sure. $50, $60, $81, $20, $40, $50, $82, $20, $40, $60. And then last sinking fund envelope is this Valentine's Day. We've never saved for Valentine's Day before, so this is going to be really nice to have some funds for that. It's getting $20. So we now have 60. So sinking funds are done. I can put that away. And now let's move on to the regular cash envelopes, which are these ones right here. Okay, so date nights. We currently didn't roll anything over from the prior cash envelopes because I wanted to save that for our medical, and then also I put the remainder in our grocery envelope. So you'll see that in just a minute. So what we're gonna start this off for date night is gonna be $50. Eating out is gonna be getting $50 as well. Home is getting $40. Groceries is getting $75. So we already have $55 in here, and this came from the cash envelopes, what was left over. So we're gonna add in $75. So that gives us $130 for groceries. And now the reason why we wanted to roll over this amount to our grocery envelope is because we want to start building up our emergency kit and a stockpile because we're hitting hurricane season here in Florida, and we just want to have that security and have like canned goods and non-perishables at home. So that's why we thought it was wise for us to keep some of that funds in our grocery envelope, and we'll use that specifically for stockpiling. So we're not going to add in anything right now to Pet because we've actually already purchased their food for the week. So we're okay for 1 week without buying them food. Spending, however, this envelope is for me. My husband, he does not use cash envelopes, so I'm just gonna give him the money. So 50 will be for me, and then 50 will be for him. And nothing is gonna be going to toiletries because we didn't need to buy anything for that. And then this is the last 50 that I'll just give to my husband. But guys, that is everything for today's cash envelope stuffing video. I hope that you found it motivating and encouraging you to get on a written budget and really have a plan in place for each of your dollars and for each of your paychecks. So if you found this video helpful, be sure to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in a brand new video. Bye guys.